So, Google Kubernetes Engine is easy to use cloud-based Kubernetes services used for running containerized applications. It helps users to implement a successful Kubernetes strategy for their applications in the cloud. Kubernetes is an open source framework for containerized management and automatic based on the Google containerized softwares. It is auto-scaled, automatic upgrade, and nodes auto repair are the sum of the unique features of GKE. When and where to use Kubernetes engine. Using GKE when you are want to provide developers architecture flexibility or minimizing operational cost, while GKE is the best management offering. You need in-house resource to manage your Kubernetes cluster. Applications that can be easily containerized or already in containerized, hybrid or multi-cloud environment, system leveraging stateful and stateless services, strong CIs and CAD pipelines. When not to use GKE. When the management is underlying infrastructure lies on the team. Applications that requires very low access to underlying hardwares like customer kernel and networking, etc. So, in the demo section, in this lab, you are going to learn how to create a Kubernetes cluster and how to deploy an application to the cluster and how to delete the cluster. I have already connected to Google Cloud. Here we can directly click on GKE cluster or else we can go to navigate menu and click on Kubernetes engine. It will go to the page of Kubernetes clusters. Here we have two methods. One is directly clicking on create and other is using the cloud shell. So I'm creating in both ways. So it is getting connected to our cloud shell. So it got connected. Here we have few commands to run. So first we have to set the region and zone. So let's go and set the region. Copy this. I'm giving these queries in a description. So here we are running, we have to set the region. So I'm setting in the region US West. Okay. After giving that, click on enter. So it now region has updated under US West. Next we have to set a zone. So in zone I'm giving US West 1C. So this is the zone I have selected. Click on enter. It will go and update the properties of zone. So now we have set region and zone. This will help to create a cluster in this region. Okay. Now we are going to create a cluster. So for creating cluster, we have to specify in which region and which zone we have to create a cluster. So here I have selected the zone as US West 1C and this is lab cluster is the name of the cluster name and type is E2 medium. So click on enter. So creating cluster lab, it takes couple of minutes to run. So cluster is being configuring. For creating cluster, it will take around 5 minutes of time. So our cluster is created. Let's see what is given. So name of the cluster is lab cluster and location and version and master IP address and master type we have selected, right, E to medium, so that is as specified and the status is running. So we can verify whether it is created or not in this page. See, as of now, nothing was there. Let's refresh it. So now you can see it was created. So our lab cluster is the name and it was created. Status is running and with the nodes and total CPUs, total memory we have. This is how we can create cluster using a cloud shell. Let's see creating cluster from here. We have to click on create and it will give two options. One is autopilot mode and one is standard mode. So we can create accordingly. Previous one we created it in standard mode. Let's see, we created this in autopilot mode. You have to click on config. After clicking on config, a page will be opening. Okay, this is the page and we have to select the name of the cluster. So I'm giving as default and everything. It is selecting a region, which region you are going to deploy the cluster. Let's select US East 1. Okay, rest of the things we can make it as default. I'm clicking on next. This is the network address where and advanced settings. So giving everything as I'm giving everything as default and click on review and create. So this is the review page where you can see the cluster name and the location where it's gonna be created. So all the settings we have selected. So of now I have selected all default. If you want any changes in this means you can go to previous page and you can make a change. So I'm creating the cluster. It takes couple of minutes time to create the cluster. You can see it is created and still it is creating, so the status everything is not coming, so it takes time to create it. Meanwhile, let's see other things. Let's run the application to our cluster. Now we are going to get credentials for our cluster. Okay, so this is the command and we are fetching. Okay, we got that one and now we are going to deploy the application to the cluster. So we are deploying hello server. From that hello app we are going to deploy. Okay, and we are specifying the port. I am giving port as 8080. This is for generating traffic to our application. So we have given that. Let's see what it has. So let's get the services. See, the name is hello server and type it is and IP address, external IP address, it's still not generated. It takes couple of minutes to generate the external IP. Let's wait for generating the external IP. We have to run the same command to verify it. Now we got the external IP. Let's see this external IP. Let's connect to that external IP and the port number. Go to next page, take a new URL. In the external IP, you have to specify the IP address which given by this. Okay, this is the external IP. I'm copying it and I'm giving external IP and the port number. Click on enter. So now we can see we connected to that server. This is the application. This is how we This is how we're gonna create a cluster and mapping the application to that cluster. Next, last we have is deleting the cluster. So this is the command we're gonna use for deleting the cluster. So we have two clusters, right? One is lab and one is autopilot, we named as. So we are going to delete the lab cluster. I'm giving name the lab cluster delete and click on enter. It is asking, do you want to continue? If you want to delete means click on Y. If no means you can click on N. So I'm deleting it. So I'm clicking on Y and click on enter. Deleting also takes a couple of minutes time to delete the cluster. So now we have deleted our cluster. Let's refresh this page. So see, our lab cluster got deleted. This is how we are going to create a cluster in the Kubernetes. Thanks for watching. Please do subscribe. Click on the bell icon for notifications.